What's up, guys? We're back with another episode of I Swear It's Not Hentai with Jay and
Steph. What's up?
And today we're talking about Mushoku Tensei and why it could be the best isekai, but let's start the show.
So at this point, we have about 9 episodes of Mushoku Tensei, and it's your typical fantasy isekai, you know. Well, typical in the sense of scene and setting, but the difference is the MC in the sense of he's a perverted NEET who stayed home all day, beating his dick, totally antisocial, everything you would imagine of disgusting, and he gets kicked out of his house because he misses his parents' funeral and then gets hit by a truck coon who we all know and love.
Alright, so let's first talk about world building and how they kind of introduce that through the perspective of the main character within the first few episodes. In the first episode, he obviously realizes that, he's a baby and he's in a new world, and he's just kind of trying to figure out what's going on and where he is, all that. And then they don't even mention magic or show anything like that. And I also love the fact that it's not like he starts off as some OP wizard in another world. No, it's nothing like that. He discovers that there's magic after the fact that his mother uses it, and he also is just looking around and noticing the world that it's definitely different. It's a whole country vibe. His dad's outside swinging a sword and practicing his swordsmanship, and I really just think it's a breath of fresh air to kind of see the main character figure it out instead of him just coming into the world super overpowered. And so moving on, he finally learns how to read and speak within that world and starts to learn magic. And I just love the way that they display the progression in which he's not locked with a certain amount of power, and that he could pretty much build that over time. And that's something that I really loved about the show as well.
And definitely just seeing the intentions of the authors or the creators of the show. It's not an isekai for entertainment. It's not an isekai for I'm just blowing time. This is definitely a world that they're building to tell a story and a lesson. You know what I'm saying? This isn't cut and dry isekais. This is definitely I have intentions, and that's why I love these types of isekais that get translated from their light novels, because stories used to have meaning back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Hercules and fucking Superman. There are things they're trying to say, and it's not just hey, laugh at this dumb shit. So I think that's one of the things that make this isekai really special, because they take the isekai aspect seriously. You know what I'm saying? This is a different world, and that's a meaning. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that make Mushoku Tensei really a standout isekai is the commitment to it being a different world. It starts off with no mention of magic, no mention of monsters, but just a person reliving their life in something that's completely strange to them. And then it brings in there's magic, you know what I'm saying? But also it's there's a reason for there being magic in this different world. It's not I want to make you laugh, I want to make you lose your Saturday. This is here because I want to awe you with the aspect of magic being serious. Not magic fairy tale where it's yeah, we blow things up. Nah, this is there are divine elements in this world that we're all playing with, and it's bringing us to a place we don't know yet, but it's definitely not something haha, LOL, LMAO, you know what I'm saying? Fuck.
Yeah, so I mean, my man is working for his magic. That's the main thing I like seeing. He may not have hands, at least from what I've seen so far in the show, but he's actually working for what he has at the moment. So moving on to that, let's go into the plot. I am actually, I'd say, a bit surprised by the plot, because it does move a little bit slow, but that's only because it's the beginning, and I don't expect some crazy shit to happen. This dude's only around 5 years old, around the first 3 episodes. So, but it's pretty dope because he gets a mentor. I don't want to spoil too much for anyone who hasn't watched the show, but he ends up getting a magic mentor who teaches him more advanced magic, and he ends up learning at a very fast rate because of the fact that he's been training alone for so long. And I just loved seeing that unfold with pretty much everything that happens within the household in the next few episodes, which I know isn't saying much, but that's for the sake of not spoiling anyone who hasn't seen the show. But I really like the way the direction that the plot is going, because it's not like your standard isekai or like one that follows that same formula of like, you know, let's get a party of adventurers and we're gonna go kill monsters and be like glorious heroes and blah blah blah. Like, this is actually following the storyline of like a kid who, one, has the mind of an adult and is literally just making like his own decisions and just creating like the best life that he can ever live, which I think is really cool. And honestly, if anyone had like a second chance to do something like that, they would take it, like no questions asked.
Yeah, and you really can't talk about the plot without talking about the characters. Like, every character is so unique, and I think that's why this show is so different, because usually in most animes there's character development, but these characters come developed, you know what I'm saying? They come with full of like the way they smile, the way they walk, the way they talk, and like the MC himself is just two people in one, you know what I'm saying? He's Rudeus Greyat, like the little kid that he got born into, but also like his neat trash past life, and he comments throughout the show, and it's just so, it's really beautiful to see, because it's like, wow, like I'm really in a different world, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at this person, they're living their life in this world, and look at like, you know, his parents, the maids, everyone he interacts with, like every single person has their own flavor, and you can like, I would say almost smell them, like you're almost there with them because how they present them, and it just really stands out in comparison to most isekais, where it's like, this is like, there's some slice of life, there's action, you know, there's comedy, but like this, I wouldn't even say is slice of life. This is literally is his life in this different world, you know what I'm saying? And you see that progression and that buildup of his character, where he like learns certain things when he makes mistakes, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I wouldn't even call it slice of life, I would just call it life cake, you know what I'm saying? Get ready to like be and really like enthralled with this world, and like in the thickness and the stock of the soup of that is this world, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not just a slice of his life, it's not cute, it's not light, it's all encompassing. Yeah,
I have to agree, these are truly like some unique characters within the show. And just lightly touching on the main character, just lightly, I like the way that he's leading his life, but I don't like just one specific thing in his personality, but we will get to that later in the video. Now, moving on to the biggest elephant in the room, the animation. It is hype, down to just the smallest detail of a driplet of water just falling down. Looks amazing. I've never seen like just even simple moments in a show get animated so good, to the point where it's like, yo, am I watching an anime movie? But it's like, no, bro, like we're watching an anime, and I can't praise the animation enough. And it's part of the reason why I think this could literally be like one of the best isekais out right now.
Yeah, and to be honest, it really makes me wonder, like, have I been being played my whole life? Because it really, I could see the love in the animation, you know what I'm saying? I could see the care for every single thing, just because how beautiful and realistic it looks, and like the vibe that it gives off. Just the overall, you know, brilliant, well done job to the, you know, animators. Shout out to Egg Studios and Studio Bond, I think. They went hard. But it also makes me wonder, you know, why can't all anime be like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the obstacles? Is it money? Is it culture? What is the excuse? Because they really raised the bar right here. And I don't think I could watch anything that doesn't look like this. Like, for why?
It definitely has to be the like budget, I'd say, because like I've heard that like animators don't get paid as much, but I mean, like, to be honest, you're not lying. Like, why? Because this is like a new series. Like, it's not like we had something before. It's not like it was a Naruto that came before, and even Naruto was kind of lackluster sometimes when it came to the animation, but that's understandable because it was a long-running series, so you couldn't pour as much of the budget and love that you could into such a short show. Which Mushoku Tensei, I believe the first season is slated for about like 23 episodes, so we're on episode 9 right now. I'm definitely looking forward to see where this journey takes us.
But now we're gonna talk about the real elephant in the room, bro.
Yes.
What the fuck is up with the perversion of Japan, bro? when it comes to lollies, when it comes to the NTR / rapey shit they do, it's just unacceptable, and it really shows in this show. Like,
this show literally had the potential to be the greatest, but it's honest, it's the perversion for me, man. Like, it was, I mean, some aspect of it was funny at first because of the fact that it was like a 34-year-old in a kid's mind. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, you know, haha, he's trying to touch his mom's titties, blah, blah. But then it kind of gets out of hand when you start to see like the imagery, just the vision of like, of a 10-year-old kid trying to like just fondle and play with another little girl. That just don't sit right with me, fam. Like, I recommend this show with caution because, I mean, like, I truly love the way that the story was going, and honestly, I feel like it's grossly unnecessary to kind of include, like, those parts where he's being so perverted, because it literally just does nothing to the plot. It adds no flavor. It's actually distasteful. And so, honestly, like, I'm down to create a version of Mushoku Tensei where I cut out all the perverted scenes and just watch it like that. I'd be fine with that.
I'd also think they're probably just gonna do it anyways, because this is, at the end of the day, really just culture shock. Because in some parts of Japan, this level of pervertedness is one expected of men and normalized, but also, like, you know, it's like, it's okay. And this is like types of people, because, you know, all anime is made with the audience in mind, and there's an audience of young men in Japan who are perverts and are actually like, you know, it's okay to just fondle a girl's boobs when she's sleeping. It's I don't know, like, they want to see homeboy try to fuck when he's 10. That's so weird, you know what I'm saying? And I see it coming. I see the backlash coming for real, because, you know, anime just touches too many people in America, and like the 10-year-olds and the 13-year-old kids, their parents are gonna see it and someone's gonna complain. And, you know, I'd be really surprised if it doesn't happen. But, you know, this trend I see right now, like you mentioned earlier, like starting with Goblin Slayer, of, you know, shit just being shock value, but then, you know, normalized. It's not going to work out well in America. And it's really going to make the name of our podcast, I Swear It's Not Hentai, like, so much more prevalent, because now when people say anime's porn, you really got to question, like, well, nowadays some anime is really close to porn. And just, it's whack, bro.
And, you know, it's not to say that, like, you know, the whole show is kind of centered around, like, the pervertedness, but I won't lie and say that it doesn't happen. But to kind of not really stray away from this, but also point out something that kind of does happen, is that there is a sense of awareness, and that the character himself realizes that what he's doing is wrong when it comes to certain situations. Like, for example, when I don't want to spoil, like, this part of plot, but he pretty much messed up in a sense where he didn't know that he was doing something wrong. And this was like sort of like an innocent moment, because yeah, he is an adult, but he genuinely was like ignorant to a certain aspect of a situation that was happening. And then he manned up, of course, and apologized for what was going on, which a lot of animes do tend to gloss over, but of course it still doesn't make it alright. But just the fact that that happened, I do appreciate that.
That being said, though, you know, that one scene I feel like is the only redeeming scene in the show. Almost every male character they introduce in the show is some type of perverted, and it's literally like the bonding point between all of them. Or maybe it's just all the males in his family. Like, his father was like a sleazebag playboy, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, they talk about that in the show. You'll see. Watch it. It's funny. It's funny when it comes to his father. His uncle and his cousin's family, they all like have a furry fetish, and they have a whole bunch of like furry maids, and they're like, oh my god, you know what I'm saying? But there's just certain points where it's like, oh, I knew I messed up here, but everything else, this is totally fine, and this is okay. And I'm like, nah, not okay. And so, once again, like, recommending this show. The show is great, but definitely you have to be cautionary, you know what I'm saying? In the sense of, like, you know, there's gonna be some scenes that's just like, you just put a bad taste in my mouth, and for the whole rest of the episode and the whole rest of the show, really, you're gonna be like, I don't know if I want to associate with this type of low life, you know what I'm saying? especially because this isn't really spoiling anything, but this man has been like praising panties since he was like 3 years old. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know, like I get fetishes. If you like to smell underwear, I get it. Go ahead. But what the fuck, bro? What? No, not like this. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that panty fetish is definitely weird, especially because it's the fact that it's from a lolly. And see, this is the thing. I'm out myself right now. I hate lollies. I don't care if you're 200 years old. I don't care if you're 400 years old. You're still a goddamn lolly. You look like a little girl. I don't like you. I just wanna put that out there. Now, kind of getting away from that subject, the main reason why I do recommend the show is because of the fact that, you know, like, it's an isekai that does things differently, albeit it does have those perverted aspects, but I also do enjoy the undertones that the show decides to tackle in terms of very real things that have happened in the real world, like, and then things that happen in that world. So definitely do recommend, but, you know, be cautionary about, like, the scenes that do come up.
This show and, like, you know, a couple other shows that came out this season really made me consider, like, why do I watch anime? You know, like, anime's cool, anime's dope, but this part of Japanese culture, like the lolliness, the pervertedness, you know, for me, it really stops at Jiraiya. Jiraiya's the most pervertedness I could fucking tolerate. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you steal some panties, you put panties on your face, you read perverted books, you write perverted books. Let's leave it there. Even the peeking, I never thought was cool. I'm like, you're kind of really wildin'. But alright, let's just leave it there. These shows recently, they've taken it a little bit further, and it really just shows like the true colors of Japanese men for me, you know what I'm saying? And I used to think Japan was really cool before this season. The season ruined it for me. The season ruined anime for me. So, like my guy said, you know what I'm saying, it's definitely a great show, but, you know, you're really gonna have to make a decision with this one. You're really gonna have to make a decision.
Alright, but that's our current thoughts on Mushoku Tensei thus far. The season hasn't concluded, but honestly, I feel like had those elements not been in the show, this show could really have been close to, if not a 10, then like a 9 to 9.5. But because of those elements, it kind of just leaves a bad sour taste in my mouth. And for a lot of viewers, that is definitely the case as well. So far, I mean, it hasn't ended, so this isn't like the final score, but so far from what we've seen, I'd definitely give it a 7 out of 10, which is very fair. But that is this week's episode of I Swear It's Not Hentai. I will see you guys next time. Peace.